Alright, back, and I made those panels, glued them on, so it'll be easier to paint that design when it's time to do that, so I don't have to tape it off. And next thing I'm going to do, I got some gaps on this, so if you see, like right there, there, and on these two, and I'm just going to fill them in with some stuff. A little putty down. Actually, it's regular old home hardware stuff. I don't usually buy the model putty because I don't like its fumes. And I might need to squirt out some more, but I just scrape it tight. Let's see if it keys in. Yeah, it needs a little bit of cleanup, but a lot of that can be done with sandpaper after the fact. You can go in with your fingers, and sometimes your fingers do a better job. Yeah, and it filled in most of that. Of course, the stuff further into the engine, I just got to work my way into there, or near the engine, not on the engine, but near it. It's a myth that you have to use, model brand stuff on everything. It really is. So don't think that you have to use that stuff. That's expensive. You can actually just use the regular stuff off the shelf from the hardware store. And let's see, there's a keying in. Get the shadow out of there. But anyway, yeah, see that gap is filled in. And that was the major gap that was on this. And that'll dry and it'll be fine to paint over. That's all you need. Yeah, and it is almost no terrible residue left. You just kind of go through your fingers and wipe off the rest. It just really works well. I use a lot. So, I mean, I've used vinyl packing. That stuff works just great too. Actually, what I'm using right now, if I showed you, you're probably going to freak out and say, what? Yeah, that's what I'm using, and it works really well. So that's just a little one of my quick little tips there. And it's a lot cheaper, and it's not corrosive smelling. So there you go, and I'll catch you on the next video. The next video, I'll be prepping it with sandpaper. So, all right, next clip or video. All right, I'm ready to start putting on a base coat. Sometimes I put a darker coat down first, and then I was like, and the detail is so light on this, I don't want to put too much paint down, so I'm actually just going to use a regular color, and I've lightly sanded it. Hopefully it sticks, and I've watered it down, so it should be a very go on very thinly, and it's probably not going to look like it's doing much. It's going to take 2 or 3 coats to actually really do what I want. as far as for laying down the color. So I don't know, it might do pretty well in the first coat. We'll see. It looks like it's doing okay. But that's what I'm doing now. And basically I'll paint the top, and then when it dries, I'll turn it over and paint the bottom, give it a coat, and then repeat that process. So anyway, there you go. That's what I'm doing, and don't know if it's really showing up on camera how well it looks, but it actually looks pretty good. This is probably going to be a pretty good model once it's done, and so I'm looking forward to that. Catch you on the next clip or video. Alright, YouTube. I put 2 coats on, and the bottom coat's drying, but something that I've started to do on this model, and it seems to be helping out, preventing the paint from collecting in certain areas and getting too thick, is I'm taking a dry brush and just doing that, and then dry it off, and this way the detail sticks, and then just like over the engine area here, the wing, take some of the paint off. I don't know if that's coming up on camera. And it is really doing a really good result. The paint looks really light, probably almost white on camera. It's not white, it's the Dolphin Gray watered down, which is kind of like an aircraft gray. I think my lights above me are causing the model to look almost white. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Trying to the panel that I glued on, I'm trying not to remove too much of that paint. I want that paint to sit on there really good, because I want a base of some paint for it to be easy to paint the other color on top of that for the detail. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, and it seems to work. When it's all done, when all the base coat's done, I'll show the model again, and then I'll begin the detail paint, and then you'll see some clips with that. Okay. Catch you on the next clip or video. Alright, YouTube, I'm done with the base coat. There's a couple little minor spots that are still drying that aren't imperative for me to worry too much about, but I am going to start doing the detail paint on this. So let me see if I can do something here. Bear with me a second. Let's see if it will. Alright, so this is the picture that I'm going off of someone else's model, and it's pretty much, I think, the Bandy model, maybe. It's got a lot of nice detail on it. So, with that in mind, if you looked, you saw there was a pale yellow color. So I got a light yellow. And there was a dark blue. I've got bright blue, but I got some black I'm going to add to it to darken it up. And then there's some metallic color for the engines and even parts of the blaster cannons. So, and of course the droid. I will need to get out the dark gray. I do have that in the background, but that's for the That's for the hood of the cockpit. I'm not worried about that right now. So the big thing is I want to start the blue, and I'm not sure. Let's put that in camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, I want to put it next to that. So, and it's pretty bright. Pretty bright. And this black is a little bit watered down. I just put a dab in there. So I'm going to take, I always keep a cheap brush for stirring. And really the center of this wheel is this paint wheel is supposed to be for mixing, but I'm just going to do that. And actually that is way too black still. Just keep stirring it. Okay, the blue is starting to come out. Still looks kind of bright. Wait a minute, no, that's starting to be the color that I like, so. Oh yeah, okay, good. So, that's a nice thing about acrylic paint. It's really easy to mix colors. Let me get that closer. So that's the color that I got out of that. And there's not a lot of blue on it, actually. So basically there's a fuselage stripe, there's the panel, and the other little panel. So that's 2 on each wing, and there's 4 wings, so that's 8. And that's it. Of course, there's a pinstripe on the other side. So that's enough paint to do these details. So I'm going to start with the panel, the small panel, and let's just and let me bring that a little closer. And now I'm going to start with the large panel, which I can already tell the large panel is going to need more than one coat. This particular plastic that I used, even though I sanded it pretty well, the paint doesn't adhere to it really well, so it takes about 2 to 3 coats to kind of get stuff to stick to it real well, even though I've got paint underneath it. So anyway, you see what I'm talking about. The paint is a little bit uneven on it. So anyway, that's what I'm starting on, and when I come back, there'll be a lot more detail paint done. Alright, I'm moving right along. As you can see, I started to get some of the detail paint, the blue and the yellow right now, and making little fixes as I go. It's going to be a slow process, and I have to do a lot of guesswork. What's on the model, that the image that I have, the detail lines are so different in panels that I'm having to make up lines as I go, or just forego some detail stuff. So it's just going to be like a see how it goes type of thing. But it's going to come out. I think it's going to be pretty cool when it's done. So anyway, I'll get you on the next clip or video. Alright, YouTube. Most of the detail of the top is pretty much done. The main detail paint. And I'm letting it dry. I'm going to go through and I'm going to hit it with the top with some clear coat right away. This way, when I work on the bottom, I don't scratch the paint off on it at all. So that's where I'm at, and it's coming together fairly nicely for what it is. The detail lines and panels on it are not correct. So let me pull it to you that way. Yeah. So it's about as good as it's going to be for me. And I'll be back with when I got the bottom done. All right. Catch you on the next clip or video. All right, YouTube. I have done the main paint, core paint, and given it each side a coat of clear coat of the polyacrylic. And now I'm going to begin the wash or weathering process. Actually, I'm going to do a wash is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to apply it with a brush. And I'm going to start on the bottom in case it's not so good and I can remove it really quickly. So anyway, let me grab something here. I got some paper towel I could probably use in case I need it. Alright, let's give it a whirl. So I make my wash, my weathering stuff on my own. I just extremely water down acrylic paint is what I do. Now you can use you can add a thinner to it, you know. I've done that. I didn't do that this time. I think it'll be alright. So basically the objective on this is going to bring out the detail lines with a lot of this, and it's already starting to work the way that I want without even doing anything to it. So I'm going to have to let it sit on there a little bit, and then I'm going to have to remove it. Some people let it sit overnight. However, the solution that I make will dry too much, so I'll be removing it much quicker than that, possibly within minutes, and then reapply and let it sit and let it do what I want it to do until I'm happy with the way that I want it. So let me just kind of lift it up here. I'm sure you can see what I'm doing, and some of the detail lines are already starting to come out. There are washes that you can buy that are really good. You can certainly do that, and that would be probably better than what I'm doing, but this will be fine. It'll work. It worked just fine. It'll be kind of cool. So, and you know, literally, you put it all over everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand it up. I'll do the back wash on the back side at a separate time. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, and when I come back, you'll see some results.